Good afternoon, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the third in a series of at least 4 talks, running through each of the suits of the tarot, and trying to bring them down to earth appropriately. I started with the suit of swords, the first one I did, and I did the suit of cups, and the third one with the suit of discs. The idea of the process I'm going to be running you through is everything is kind of manifest on a large scale and usually reflected in a small scale as well. So I'm basically going to be running through the suit of discs today from the point of view that it's also going to be embodied in everyday life in some very easy to grasp, easy to relate to, easy to understand aspects of your life. And then trying to look into that very close up and see what it teaches us about the big picture. Discs associated with, to me, health and wealth, sensuous and the mundane. Any other sort of meanings that you would associate with the discs at this point? Is that work?
Finance.
Yeah. Finance.
Self-worth. Material.
Yeah.
Manifestation.
Manifestation, that's the key word. Yeah, it's also called the suit of coins and pentacles, and as we discussed, the pentagram is the pentacle is the one that has the circle around it. Also, it's manifest, the pentagram kind of made manifest. The essence of understanding the suit for me is to taste it. I think the somewhat clinical references of discs may aid with a more theoretical approach, and we'll also grapple with the flavours of coins and pentacles. It's not my most natural suit, so with this journey I will really strongly appreciate your assistance. I will be inviting your contributions. So let's get started. The symbolism of the suit. My reference sheet here is a little bit longer than yours. I trimmed it down to size so it fit on your pages a little bit neater. So I've got a few things on here that may be not on yours, but I tried to cut it down to the ones which I thought were most important. So you've got wheels, middle wheels, coins, pentacles, wedding rings, portals I put in, like a door or window possibly, cycles, things going around in circles, cogs, seals, like, if you write a letter and you want to sort of fix a seal of authority, a stamp of authenticity, that would mark it on there.
Pumpkins. Pumpkins.
Pumpkins, yeah, pumpkins as well. And most round things, big ring in there. But yeah, the Christian communion wafer, I occurred to me quite appropriate. I'll explain my reasoning in a bit. So discs relate strongly to coins and trade, but also fundamental symbols of movement and work. The wheel moves without moving, it kind of rotates but it stays still at the same time. There's also a sense in which the wheel emphasizes the sense of immovable self as dynamic, like the world sort of moves, but you are kind of like the focal point. Everything revolves around you, in that sense. There's a kind of a meshing or a union of self and other, like a more psychological aspect, kind of integrating into the world, sort of enmeshing within a bigger system in a very physical and resourceful sense. Does that make sense? There's a lot of jargon, but I'm just throwing some symbols out there to sort of get the minds moving. Okay, so we've got lots of shiny things and round things, and important things for a lot of people. The first journey for me was the journey of work. That sort of left out as the basic kind of thing to imagine. In my mind, what I was imagining was kind of like there's a machine, like, I'm not sure it would be maybe the grindsaw or something. You have to hold on to it, sort of push it round, and work is done, like it grinds something, who knows what it might be.
A mill.
It could be a mill, although it would make more sense to strap it on something a bit stronger, like the windmill or the horse or whatever it might be. But this is kind of getting enmeshed with your labours, physically taking hold of something and pushing. It could be a boulder moving like Sisyphus up the hill, it could be the car you're trying to get started, it could be anything when you physically have to sort of move something, make a change, make something happen. So what I'm going to do is run through the 1 to 10. I'm just trying to sort of bring you in what I feel it kind of expresses. A lot of this is borrowing from Henry's work with Path of Initiation, his book, and some other stuff in the Kabbalah I've been reading to sort of help break down the different stages to sort of make a sense of it. So, at the start of this little journey, number 1, the ace of discs. We have this basic capacity of sensation. So God's gift to man to actually feel, to be aware, to sense things, whatever's going on. And there's a job to be done. So there's something you want to change. Something maybe like a contract has been brokered, or there's some kind of initial abstract need that needs to be fulfilled. Something is not quite right, it needs to be changed. So this is right at the start of the process. Something is coming into being. It's like, who knows what it might be. You're changing the world, something physical is going to happen, something going to be manifest. And I think we've got the ride away with the hand coming out of the clouds. So yeah, God is dangling something maybe shiny in front of us. Okay. Number 2, the story goes, the workman is now he's got this task in mind, so he starts to get ready for it. Like, spits on his hands, that's ready to take hold of the machine or push the car or whatever. So he's kind of made a choice at this point. He's accepted that something's going to happen. He's going to be in this mode. He's going to be making this change happen. Hasn't started actually changing anything yet. It's kind of initial kind of say masculine, but that's maybe quite old-fashioned language. But a sort of active role. And then I think we've got the juggling and the rider weight. It's the man who's sort of juggling 2 things. What other 2s have we got out there? This idea of sort of, I feel like shifting of resources, getting ready. It's like, balancing, shifting, preparing, getting things in order, setting the stage.
We have a ship and a dolphin.
That's wonderful.
In the tube market and dolphins.
What do you think that means? See movement, maybe. I can see trade. What do you think?
It's the totem of the IFG.
Who knows?
No, it is, because I'm an IFG. So.
Then we get number 3. As with most of the suits, number 3 is what I'm calling first union. It's that sort of very, very initial step when things happen. So in this case, the workman, he takes hold of the actual thing, makes contact with the car. So this is the start of where the work is occurring. At this point, the workman becomes agent and part of the machine. And this idea of a system or machine out there, it's like the workman has kind of, he's entered in a particular relationship with the world. So whether it's just a car or it could be like a big machine where he's like a cog in the wheel starting to push around. So he's meshed now, there's that contact that's been made. At that point there's a little bit of ambiguity as to whether you're active anymore, if you look at my drift. Because you're part of something bigger. It's like, are you driving the system? I'm not sure. The system is in a sense being driven by you, but you're also a slave to the system. So it's something odd has happened here. Your identity is something not quite normal. Or very normal, but it's a little unusual. And maybe I imagine there's a jolt or whatever, if there's something that's already got a bit of energy in it and you suddenly try to grab onto it, like imagine merry-go-round perhaps, goes round and round, and if you try and grab onto it when it's going, maybe it'll pull you off your feet, a little jolt of impact. I think on the rider weight we have the industrious masons, they're getting to work, things are happening, chipping away at the stone. The craftsmanship is occurring now. Okay. Any other 3s of interest? What have you lost? I think that's the reason. Anyone having trouble finding the 3? too elusive.
Red clothes.
Green.
We all have different takes. Everybody's wearing red clothes.
I'm not sure what that means. Any insights on the colours?
Red clothes. It was because the card is Mars and Capricorn, so red is associated with Mars. It's energy being brought onto the work itself.
Okay.
So,
And there's also the root chakra.
yeah.
Yeah.
Very basic.
Very basic.
And 3's number of manifestation, 1 and the 2 and the
Yep.
3. So.
Yep. Okay. So after this initial 3, we move on to the 4. This is a very stable card. On the 4th deck we have like a fortress. The square is pretty solid, pretty stable shape. This I imagine the workman is kind of steadying, so maybe that was that initial jolt of the system. Maybe he staggers a little bit, braced for the impact, boom, 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 and he's starting to push it towards his goal. So there's a period of waiting here. There's a bit of really getting into the task. So maybe you've got the initial butterfly in the stomach or whatever, a little bit of shakiness about whatever is changing. This is a kind of a cementing, this is a period of consolidation. Yeah, stabilizing. Any interesting thoughts? You have the miserly king who's holding on to his resources, he's marshalling stuff for himself, he's not really got much to spare. He's holding on to all of his, yeah. What's mine is mine.
Another form of miserliness.
Interesting. Not sure how, is that miserly?
Sorry?
Not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure I got it out.
Well, she's holding on to her power.
Yeah,
Yeah.
standing stable.
Yeah.
That's good. Any interesting thoughts?
And it's ready to use it.
I think when it comes to work, there's that indication of being, whether it's the first payment in the job or, it's something a payment you can then go in and do something with it, and then depending on your relationship to the money, it will depend on what you go on and do, whether you save it or you spend it.
Initial return on investment.
Yeah.
And then with the 5, the struggle begins, the drive begins. This is where the workman really gets to work. This is where it gets hard. The task is really grinding him down. He's fighting against the system, sweating, muscles straining, all trying to push through this barrier. It's quite an intimate sort of step, really. This is when he's almost, he's fighting with his role in a sense. He's not quite in the role, but he's like really sort of very physical, very forceful. But there's some kind of sense in which it's not quite right. Yeah, there's a bit of suffering going on here, there's a bit of a struggle, there's a bit of restriction. He's fighting rather than being kind of at peace. So we're moving into the 6, where everything flows beautifully. Everything's kind of now working together. But in 5, he's pushing towards that point. Imagine it's like the acceleration, you push into accelerate, and when you get to that nice steady speed, whizzing along the motorway, it's like a bit more effortless, but that initial acceleration, you feel the push, you feel the drive to get into that state. The thought for me, not quite sure. I see cogs, I see a system here, I see fire or hot heat in the background. But yeah, it doesn't really evoke that much for me at the moment. Not sure. Anyone got 5s? Struggling, destitution, lack of
It doesn't
misfortune.
look like acceleration, it looks really like it's somewhere else, but not here. There's the goal.
Yeah, this is a struggle.
Really struggle.
Yeah. It's the hard times. To really struggle with the material world. Any other fives?
Mine's similar.
Yeah.
2 children, snow.
Yeah.
But the church windows, it's about kind of hope, and there's that thing of, being in a struggle and having material need.
Yeah.
But can you see where you can get help? Because they're
Yeah.
outside of the church, with, that's lit up, that says there is help, and only they can see it. It's the vibes they bring, the kind of difficulty and the solution as well. So.
This idea of the nature of the struggle, is there almost like a struggle for something positive, or is it just being beaten up, punched, battered down, crushed? Yeah. The 6 is push through the workmen and the machine are one. They're moving in alignment. The work is being done. It's it's positive. Changes are happening. There's benefit and prosperity. Very. The cog is in the machine. The machine's doing its thing. I had this idea of like the mechanism, the universe is like a big machine, God's Opus Dei manifest in this huge, massive machine. Everything's doing its thing, all in its place. And there's a kind of a peace in that sort of, you're doing the thing, you're doing the work, but you realise the work is being done with love, being done with purpose. You're not fighting to do it, you accept that it needs to be done. The results are good. Any 6s out there? Eyes, yes, or?
Just picking up on stuff, because I'm talking all
Oh, go for it, yeah.
what you were saying about the universe as a kind of cog and machine, I think, and it kind of struck chord with me, because in mine it's a different image, and it's got the scales, and of course it's about that kind of balancing up. If you have more, you give. If you don't have enough, you can receive. And so I like what you were saying about kind of like it's a universal kind of principle of what you mentioned, prosperity, that there is some prosperity, but it's which side of the prosperity are you leading prosperity, and when you get that, or are you in a position to give and make someone else?
I like the mechanistic aspect of the steampunk pictures.
Yeah.
The coins maybe,
Similar,
it can be a little bit misleading maybe. I mean, the truth is in there, I think, and we'll cover that in a bit. But I think this, the idea of more systematic, more manifest kind of interactions, I think it brings a lot to it as well. Okay, moving on to number 7. Are we good to move on? We will accelerate. Once this machine gets going, there'll be no stopping. Number 7. I put this down as bounty for this kind of idea of the workman. So at this point, maybe there's enjoyment of the profits of labour, but also the marks and the classes. There's this, but on the 7 of the Thoth, it's failure. And if I did my research right, it's kind of when the emotional is brought into the work environment, it's like you're sat at your desk and it's sunny outside, you're right outside. It's kind of hard to do the work sometimes when your heart is pulling you somewhere else. So yeah, there's a sense in which there's this kind of self-denial. I think on the right away, it's the chap standing, gazing at the bounty of the field, but then the field he's supposed to be tending is all just all kind of wasting away, not really doing his job. Maybe he's the kind of lazy farmhand who's kind of daydreaming. He's not doing his work. So there's a lot of fun to be had, and a lot of benefit to be gained, but partly too hard, and something's going to stop.
I thought he watches that everything grows because he prepared the field and it flows by itself.
We should finally just the end of our journey and the start of our journey. Number 10. Now, wealth is the thoth name of this card. I think that's a very loaded term. What other images do we have for the 10? Coins everywhere. Pentacles everywhere. Raining from the sky.
It's everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere. There's wealth, money, power, influence, shining things everywhere.
Well, on the right away, you have the old guy kind of looking at the future, because the 10 is a completion of one cycle.
It is.
So it's like, okay, I'm done with my section. How's it going to be from, what's the next cycle going to be?
Yeah. Wealth is kind of an abstract. It's not really. Yeah, you can't take it with you. So there's a sense of legacy here. A sense of what is being accrued goes somewhere. What happens to your money? What happens to your power? Do you give it to someone else? You've got more than you can use. When you die, you can't use any of it. What do you do with it? There's always a sense of kind of moving on to something else. Whether you start, a different enterprise, or you give it to someone else, and then they draw on your wealth and start their own project. I think it makes me think of what you were saying about which side you're on. If you have more or you have less, and if you have more, you kind of it radiates out. Yes, the cycle of toil carries on, the cycle of work carries on. This idea of something carrying on made me think of the idea of like a contract, a covenant, or commitment, the sense in which it's hard to stop it. So once you've made this kind of wealth, it kind of gets momentum and it keeps going, whether it's the business plan, which the company that keeps doing and spreading and expanding and does more, whether it's the money that people take and they do something with, and it kind of funnels out from there.
Has a life of its own in a way.
Yeah. So the work-related aspect of the suit is very familiar to most, through I think the wider weight symbols that kind of really emphasises the idea of workmanship. So what is the dark side of the coin? One thing I've always liked since I did the first suit of swords, I'm a strong believer that there's like a light side which we maybe see more clearly, especially with the cups. But there's also maybe a shadow side, a darker side, if you don't see so readily, because maybe something you're a little bit more less comfortable with. So we're going to move on in a second to the second journey, which for me is kind of where the slightly more negative associations might be. We're going to have a quick break, if you want, just for like a minute. Any questions at this point? Any insights? I promise the second journey will be quicker. Once we've got the basic groundwork done. Is it?
So a toilet break to get drinks and stuff? Or?
A little bit quicker now. If I go too quickly, let me know. Expressions of pain is comfortable too, or just crying. Okay, so the second journey is addiction or slavery. It's this idea of, rather than the sense in which we are kind of choosing to be agents, we are drawn into something bigger and we kind of lose our control and become absorbed by the system. So shadow sides of systems and machines. So yeah, I'll quickly run through my interpretations as we go. So the one, we see the glitter as something we lack. Something shiny. I want it. Compulsion, walk by the shop, something in the window. Do you want it? I think it wants you more. It's hungry for you, it wants you to possess it. We reach out for it. This is a curiously passive agency, so we're reaching out for this thing we want, but the sense of which we're not really in control now, we're kind of being drawn to buy this thing, we're drawn to have it, we're retaining, we feel incomplete, we feel inadequate, and this will make our lives better. we grasp it or we taste it. So yeah, a little buzz, that excitement. This is, aha, I finally got the thing I wanted. Here it is. Imagine like Gollum with his ring. It's like your face lights up. Beautiful possession. And the 4, the possession sinks in. So the child looks at his candy and is impatient now, it's like unwrapping it. Wants that, he wants the sugar rush. He's trying to tear off the candy bar wrapper. And 5, pushing the needle. So the heroin addict or whoever is injecting, so there's a bit of pain here. The child unwrapping physically is frustrated. It's this kind of, I want it. And then 6, we have the high, the sugar rush. And you're wearing the shoes as you're going down the catwalk. Everyone's going, wow, it's amazing. You get what you wanted. You feel amazing. Real big high, amazing stuff going on. Then we hit the 7. And mine, this is the come down. this is the afterwards. The distancing of reward and effort makes the effort so much more unbearable and reward so much harder to attain. Yeah. Does that make sense to everyone?
So say that again.
That the distancing of reward and effort makes the effort so much more unbearable. So the bigger the high and the come down, it's like, you find this. So how to we drop further and further from the light as the hit ravages us and leaves us requiring greater sacrifice. So we get burnt out by the thing we achieve. Yeah, we need a bigger hit next time. We need more. We need more. It's not enough. We need more. And then starts, how much effort, how much money is it going to cost you? How many of your relationships are you going to sacrifice to get this thing? So it gets harder and harder and harder and harder, and obviously your life starts to break down, things start to be sacrificed, cracks start to show. And then the 8, you're kind of locked into a cycle. Maybe you're even aware of it. Maybe you even look at yourself and you say, maybe there's a sense of disgust. Maybe, I don't know. It's like you look at yourself in this trap, in this addiction, sense of despair, denial. Yeah, the system is kind of sucking you dry. All very emotive stuff here. They say that the first step to solving or curing an addiction or whatever problem is to admit you have one. But then there's a sense in which I can appreciate people also. It's just saying, I have a problem. It's part of me. It's kind of an integral part of you. At that point, it's not going to change. It's me. It's here to stay. It's just the way I am. I just like doing this. It's me. And then the 9. My mind is like I'm craving to want it again. Time to fantasize about the next hit, fantasize about, these shoes that I bought, maybe they're not as good as I thought actually. Or those ones, those will complete me. And back into the loop again. And then the 10, the cycle is complete, the furrow is deep, and we go round and round and round in this circle, in this cycle, and all we do is we cement it time and time again, finding ourselves in the same places. You can see, I almost imagine there's this kind of pathway through your life, and you look at it in the right angle and you can see it just going round and round in the same circle, getting deeper and deeper and darker and darker. And there's just nothing there that can't break out of it by themselves and sucked in. The destructive aspect of this most receptive suit, I say receptive in the sense that it's not really an active suit like the swords or the wands, and it's not like a mental suit like the swords or the cups. It's a very physical, very receptive suit. That's kind of where I'm coming from. It may not resonate with you. So this destructive aspect of the suit lies with this concept of being absorbed by the external, enslavement by habit or tradition, through addiction maybe, in ways around our necks like a millstone. We become slaves to the task, or the game associated with it. So maybe you're in a 9-to-5 job for the rest of your life. Paying off the loans that you'll never ever pay off. Physical analogy might be a vehicle accelerating down a hill and going out of control. So gains momentum, gets into a rut, gets into this habit or tradition,
I actually thought of the lives of celebrities when we were going through this.
So do you?
I actually thought of the lives of celebrities when
Yeah.
I was going through this. It's like getting caught up in the glamour, as you were saying.
Yeah, very much so. Very shiny, slaves
Yeah, yeah.
to the spotlight. Yeah. Celebrities who don't have to feel their lives aren't their own anymore. They feel like they're going from show to show. Nobody really knows them. They feel really alone. Yeah, it's all this. The system is bigger than you. You can see how dangerous the distancing of reward from cost and labour can be. So yeah, in the abstraction, so we create a coin. People bleed and die for this. So you've made something manifest with a sense in which the manifestation, the symbol, is not reflective of the whole. It can't be. You've reduced something down, you're trying to make it representative, but in that representation there's a chance of misunderstanding or abstraction. So yeah, numbers, stock markets, up and down they go. Beautiful patterns, people losing their homes, their livelihoods, devastating economic implications. It's just zeros and ones flipping up and down. Consider any of the camps systems of finance and production where gain as profit fails to reflect real cost to lives and environment. Cheap shirts in the department store, child labour in a far distant country, far removed. So yeah, there's abstraction from the result. Similarly, the connections and commitments we make can take on a life of their own when we find ourselves struggling to keep up with our own lives. That's what I was saying earlier about commitments. Somebody comes asks you a favour, and because you're a fairly organised person, you get stuff done, things are in order, yeah, sure, I'll help you out. And then another person, a family member comes along, sure, I'll sort that problem. And then another, and then another. And there's no accident, because it's like the glitter in the coin. They notice that you're competent, they notice that you achieve things. So they come to you, ask for favours, a little bit here, a little bit there, and suddenly you're being kind of eaten alive by all of these commitments. Very heavy. These chains of gold, like imagine the mayor who has the chain of office. It's like the weight of this responsibility, the weight of these commitments to come in. Yeah, suddenly you find yourself struggling because you were actually doing a good job. On the other side, the discs are integrative, like the colonial trade empires expanding to capture the world. And thus with the sense of the juggernaut or the farming machine that seems to absorb and process. So yeah, people get together, do something together, achieve something, starts to gather momentum, starts to spread. Big machine starts to integrate, says, this is working, this is a good thing, let's spread this. Maybe it's an ideology, maybe it's just a procedure. And it starts to spread, other people start doing it, the company starts to spread, its practices start to spread, and it tries to bring everything within itself, kind of like, in a positive way, it's sharing the benefits of what it's doing. In a negative way, it's imprinting itself time and time again, like the machine stamps everything into place. So yeah, it's kind of this shadow side of the system is this kind of systematic replication carries on. Maybe there is a sense in which the subtleties of an individual situation are lost because the system carries on, and not everyone fits. You're feeling sometimes when your job isn't quite right for you. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's right for a personality devoid person who has no private life and all they do is they work. Maybe that's why you do not fit, because it's not human. It's not likely that you should fit. And trinkets for the natives, yeah. Taking advantage of people who are in need. Anyway, okay, so lots of negativity there. Any other kind of darker sides that you want to spat from this? It was very heavy for me.
There are lots of feelings in this type of journey.
Yeah. There are a lot.
A lot of feelings and emotions.
Yeah. It's like, it's kind of the relationship, you move it around, you can almost feel your awareness shifting, or whatever it is. I mean, the coin is an abstraction, it's a particular case, but it could be anything. the heart's desire on dangled in front of you, you suddenly you're pulled around by this thing. So yeah.
So that's actually self-worth again, isn't it? While you were talking, I was thinking, so much about the devil card and, how, in a way, I guess, this is the journey to being enslaved, in front of the devil, whatever, something unconscious, or whatever you enslave yourself to, which you can break free of, choose. It's really, really interesting. It kind of helped break that down for me.
And the devil is ruled by Capricorn, which
Yeah.
is it cardinal
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So it's the quintessential.
Yeah.
I don't know if you use that phrase, use your phrases, but it's that one about the trappings. Well,
That's nice.
literally weighs you down, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, very much. That's really interesting.
The devil is the warrior.
So after that, let's clear the air a little bit, shake ourselves down, get rid of some of this.
Eating, now you're talking.
Okay, so the third journey, this is where I'm going to try and find a metaphor that balances a little bit more. So we've got work, like active, achieving something, we've got addiction, slavery, when you're being drained, you're being enslaved, you're no longer significant in that sense. And then I've gone for hugging, embracing. I initially went for eating actually, but yeah, I don't know, I think for me, I think the idea of like embracing felt better for this particular journey, but maybe we'd find eating such an alternative. Or maybe even a handshake, some kind of, there's a connection, there's a sense of equality. Neither side in a sense has the other hand, potentially, and voluntary. Although I know some hugs where they grab you, it's like, oh, can't you move? There's a little bit of flexibility there. If cups signify the internal, and one's the external, then the discs and the swords are the guardians of the threshold. Where the swords serve to sever the connections through conceptual delineations, the discs serve to create bonds of trade and engagement. So like, cups is like internal mental, wands is kind of more external, more physical sort of progressing. And then you've got, the discs are kind of seeking to make the join like glue, where the sword is tending to cut the join and like separate out. And recently I found the notion that money is a promise is at the forefront of my mind, so the side of a commitment. And this is something which for me feels really important. And I'm presuming you all have spotted on the notes, it's like Billy says, I promise to pay the bearer the sum of blah. And there is no blah, there is no pound. The money is not even a pound. It's like, £10, no, that's not £10. It's a promise to pay you £10, it doesn't even exist. It's a completely abstract concept, but it's made manifest in that note. And it's this idea of a promise, this idea of a commitment, which is, it's manifesting something physical. Magically, the discs denote the pentacle. The manifest pentagram, an expression of resourcefulness and integration. And for me, this is like, it's not like the fuel of emotions, which is kind of what one of the ideas I have associated with the cups. It's kind of emotive fuel, powerful, it's like a source of change. It's like a potential of connection. It's like, you shake hands with someone, it's the start of something, maybe, or from martial arts perspective, you make a connection with the other person, you can do something. Flip them over the shoulder, put them to the ground. That initial connection gives you a lot of potential to do something. But in itself, it's not necessarily, it's just the potential which is important. The third journey with this hug, this embrace. Just list it quickly. So yeah, sense of individuality at the start, so maybe a sense of an other, there's an imbalance, there's a desire to embrace. And the two, you reach out for them, reach out, open your arms, invite it maybe. Yeah, it's kind of like, open your arms. Are you passive here? Are you active? Because you're inviting, I'm actively inviting you, but I'm kind of waiting your engagement. So there's this kind of passive-active union thing going on there. Initial contact, so making contact. Fourth, you kind of, so you made that initial connection, but a lot of people, that initial connection, there's a bit of, I'm not quite sure, what's happening? Do I like this person? Maybe that's the smell of them, the feel of them, the heat. Yeah, there's a little bit of maybe slightly unsettling, slightly, might be nice, but not quite right. Then there's that kind of sinking in period, where you kind of get, the feel, breathing, and you start to feel a little bit more relaxed maybe. In the 5, maybe there's that sense of, someone bigger has grabbed hold of you and I don't actually want you to hug me, I'd rather you weren't here and this is uncomfortable, and there's a kind of feeling you're being restrained. But the positive side would be, you're expressing affection for someone, you feel that affection, they feel it too. There's a lovely kind of exchange of energy going on, willingly and engaged in this connection. It's kind of like, the positive side of this kind of engagement. It's willing, it's equal, and there's something really lovely about that connection. The 7, too much too soon, uneasiness, neglect for the proper union, reluctance to let go of the other, but letting go of self. I'm not sure. Maybe the emotions, kind of out of sync with this embrace. Maybe you wish it was someone else. Maybe you wish it wasn't going quite so long. Yeah, so the heart is fluctuating. 8 is moderation. Sense in which you get these clinical hugs. The person holds you and you feel it's like, this doesn't really feel like a relaxed hug. You feel like kind of they're not comfortable and you kind of feel like to maybe think about it, kind of holding back from it. With a man hug where they kind of pat you on the back, tap, 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 and it's like, this is, you're not really hugging me, you're kind of just, it's missing like an expression or something rather than actually anything deep. 9, what does it mean? What do you imagine this hug is going to be? Is it going to turn out to be a relationship? Is it something beautiful? What do you want it to be? Who knows? And the 10 is, moving on. You've had this embrace, you've had this connection with someone. What happens next? You can't walk around holding on to each other the rest of your lives. So, there's this sense in which you've established something, you've made that connection with someone. So you're an individual, but you kind of share this moment in time, this moment of presence. There's something really special and magical about that. So even when you sort of step back, you kind of feel that warmth, you feel that sense of not being alone, perhaps, even though you are, separating. So you stand back, but things aren't quite the same anymore. So,